Nice short video. This is for Dasa, Akasha, Ashram. And this is sort of not a puja, but I want to show you what leads up to a puja. I have this thing called mini pujas, and it's based off the longer Hindu versions. Let me just give you a quick example of what I mean by what's short, what's long. This is long puja. It's a whole book. This is just one type of puja from my late guru, Shanti, who, by the way, if you're going to consult any kind of book on this subject, he certainly was an authority. Most of it was created in the 1970s and 1980s. It's got a little old-fashioned look. A lot of it's available on Amazon and Kindle. Satchinarayana is a form of Lord Vishnu, or Narayana, and Satya is truth. There's the golden age of truth, which is a yuga, or a cycle of time. Satya is a very important concept. It also just means truthfulness, and is one of the, it's in the yamas and niyamas, which are sort of the, what should I do, what should I not do? Sort of like the Ten Commandments, but for the Indian tradition. It goes back very, very, very far, by the way. We're talking much, much before the birth of Christ. We're talking possibly 7,000 BC, possibly earlier. We're still working on carbon dating, and I think that as we go along in society and our technology advances, we'll find out that some of our human traditions are much older than we thought. But that is a subject for another video, and possibly something you can find on YouTube from somebody else. This is just an example of what it looks like in the book, so it goes piece by piece of every article that you need, every kind of mantra, every kind of intonation, gestures, hand gestures, mudras, every little thing. So he has it in Sanskrit, right? An example of Navedyam Bhaktito Dajyat Sapadam, blah, 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 blah. So these are all words that we probably don't understand. The devotee should prepare a special divine porridge for offering to the deity. And this porridge is known as Sapada Bhaksha, which brings health and joy to the devotees who partake of it after offering it to God as prasad. Prasad is food that is touched by the Lord. You'll see that on the altar back there. You'll see some apples and bananas. That, if I was to do that and do a ritual and puja and everything, and then I eat that later or have other people eat it, it's considered prasad. It's first it's offered to God. You don't touch it, you don't eat it, you don't taste it. And then after everything's done, then you consume it. And supposedly there's prana, there's shakti, there's a kind of divine energy that is infused in it. Of course, very difficult to prove, right? But this is something that I grew up with. It's a very core Indian tradition. I would just say a very core Hindu tradition, very core yoga tradition. And then you have all these different names of God. Okay, so here's the deal. I personally became very frustrated with how complicated these rituals are, and I still wanted to participate in them, yet I don't have the time to devote 4 hours to this. And perhaps someday I will be able to. So I created a little segue, and maybe I'm not the first person to create this, but I call it a mini puja. So let me just kind of show you what I do. First, as you can see, I have the fruit offering. You don't have to do the same thing every time. Here's my staples. I would like to offer fruit, flowers, and pure water. Those are pretty much the only things that I'm going to offer. I would love to have some holy basil or tulasi, which is also considered to be, especially Vishnu, is very pleased by a simple little glass of water with one holy basil leaf in it. It's more important than dumping a pile of gold on your altar and offering that to God. What is God going to do with gold? God doesn't care for gold. If you want gold, you should propitiate with flowers, incense, a purity of devotion, purity of heart, pure water, pure flowers, whatever. Let's play with the flowers. I'm going to prepare the flowers. I'll just show you. Okay, I'll just give you a close-up. So we have our basket of flowers. I'm just going to put it in the middle of the altar. There's no perfect way to do this. Now we need an ingredient. Purified water. So we're sort of doing a puja, okay? The first thing that I do there is sprinkle water. It's sort of a purifactory thing. Sprinkle water. Maybe you don't want to soak everything, okay? But just little dabs, little sprinkles. You also want to throw it over your shoulder, behind your back, purify yourself, head. I mean, you can really be creative with this. There's no perfect way to do it, in my opinion. It's the sentiment that counts. It's the devotion. It's the intention. It's the purity inside of you that counts. Then we also have sound. I cannot do incense in here, so let's just pretend that there's incense. These are tuned to the sound of Om, which you can hear in the background. They vibrate. You hold them up to your ear. You can also use them to purify with sound. That's what the bell is for, as well as these. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om, Tat Sat. Om Guru Om, Aham Kar Sharanam. Hari Om, Tat Sat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And that is pretty much it. It's a good introductory. So, after I did that, I would probably do some mantras. I just did a couple quick ones. Shanti is peace, peace, peace. Aham Karasharanam is my own variation of I surrender the sense of my I self. I surrender the sense of my ego. Not reinforcing ego. Aham is I am. It's more of that sense of I am, I surrender. Sharanam. Sharanam is surrender, or charanam. Hari Om Tat Sat, it's a generic prayer. Sort of, it's an invocation. It's sort of it's an all-encompassing thing. It's a salutation, and affirmation of this is that. Bear with me and bear with the yoga tradition. There's a lot of sort of, it's like a giant riddle, you know. Sometimes it just doesn't make logical sense, even the way that the sentences come out or the wording. But there's an intuitive quality to it. It's deeper than that. It's beyond our logical mind. So the more you get familiar with it, I think even the less important the meaning of it becomes. And in the beginning, it's important. You need to know what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're intoning. But then it takes on a sort of automatic quality, and it's more vibratory. It's energetic. It's beyond thought, and that's where I want to live. That's where I want to live. So you have the fruit, the flowers, sound. If you can do incense or candle, wonderful. My altar is the way it is. Perhaps your altar looks a little bit different. If you have one, if you don't, it's not that important. I think as long as you have something that you feel is higher than yourself, any form of God, any picture, whether it's Jesus or whether it's Muhammad or Zoroaster or the guru, your guru, a guru, or all the different forms of God. I have many on my altar, but I'm really considering them to be one God, the absolute Brahman. I'll get into later what I delineate, how exactly it breaks down in the Hindu tradition of what the representations of God mean and what their underlying truth is all about. And it actually all boils down to one, believe it or not, despite the many forms. Hopefully that was helpful. I also have a meditation cushion under there, so after I was done with that, I probably would do some more prayers. And Rudraksha Mala is special to me in my tradition and my own specific spiritual practice, which is associated with Durga, who is the spouse of Lord Shiva. Rudraksha is considered to be the tears of Lord Shiva. There's many mythologies. It is a specific kind of tree that produces these little fruits, and inside these fruits is these little seeds. And they're called mukha because mukha means face. So they'll have a whatever the number is right in front of mukha, and there's different ones like 5-faced, 4-faced, 1-faced, which is very rare. This one is a 9-face Rudraksha. It is very specifically associated with an aspect of the Divine Mother. These are from Indonesia. They're certified X-ray. They're the real deal. There's a lot of fakeries out there. You know, I've actually got one. I have it from an old reggae festival called Reggae on the River a long time ago, over a decade ago. And that's where I actually got my second Rudraksha Mala. The first one was given to me by my guru, but it ended up in the forest of Lake Tahoe when I had a crisis of faith at one point. Anyways, there's many ways to do this, but I like to keep it simple, and you still have a lot of, I think there's a lot of benefit to it. I really do. I can't prove it to you. It's just something you have to experience on your own. So I would do that, and then I would do probably a period of meditation, 30 to 45 minutes. And then I would bow to the guru and to God and the altar, and that's it. I left out one part, one preliminary exercise is, and I have a formula, and you'll see it in other videos, is pranayama, in this case, alternate nostril breathing. And that's it. Hopefully you got something out of that. I'm very happy to share this. This is my favorite subject and maybe not the most popular, but I really want to reinforce this mini puja routine to create a sort of system that when I've finally raised enough funds and created enough detailed operational procedures, I would like to move forward on Dasa, Akasha, Ashram. That is what I want to do for my retirement. I don't want to not work. I want to live at the ashram. I want to teach, share, help people grow spiritually, but I also want to have just sort of a school for living, a school for life, where people learn all sorts of, skills, basic skills to live in this world without neglecting their spiritual practice, and a safe place to do it, a comfortable place to do it, a beautiful place to do it, a calm and peaceful place to do it, an oasis. Namaste. May you be blessed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Peace be with you.